everybody, and welcome to another Conan custom tutorial map series video. This is video 17, I believe it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to cover some sound volumes, sound cues, and kind of go from there. Now what I've done is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to transfer over here, but I am going to cover a couple more things with static meshes I forgot to cover in the last video as we kind of set up the starter area. So we'll go ahead and let's transfer over to my main display here, and we'll get right to it. Okay, so in the last video we talked about static meshes, and I'm going to head over here to our scene. And one thing I forgot to mention too, because I showed you how to swap the materials, kind of build your theme, etc. Okay, so you remember this, what we did in the last video. What I forgot to mention too is I wanted to go in and show you about collisions. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and take this barrel. I'm going to find it in the content browser. I'm going to open this up. Now, if you have an issue where your character can run through one of the static meshes, it's because the collisions are not set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can check collisions. So what you can do is you go to this button up here on your static mesh after we open it up, and you click that button. You can see that we got the kind of the bright light blue color. That's the complex collision. So in other words, it wraps the barrel. Now this other collision in purple, that's the simple collision. Okay, so what we can do is go to the collisions here, and we can go to the collision up here. We can go to, what was it? There's a button here. Let me see, because I'm used to 427, and I don't want to confuse you. But we can see the collisions, we can see the complex and the simple collisions. Let me move this, minimize that. And we can actually see them on separate intervals, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. I'm trying to remember if 415 allowed that or not. Probably not. It's allowing us to see both right here, right now, with the collision button checked. So yeah, so this light blue purple, notice how it kind of sticks out a little bit further, and then we have the complex and light blue. So now you can check an item to see whether the collisions are activated or not by going over here on the side. On the right hand side in the details panel, we scroll down and we go to collisions. Okay, now under the collision tab, you're going to see primitives, double-sided geometry, and things like that. What you're going to see is a project default. Now sometimes the project default don't work, so what you have to do is you have to come down here and you have to go simple and complex, or use simple collision as complex, or use complex collision as simple. Now I usually choose to use complex collision as simple, especially if it's nothing yet you're going to place throughout the world a whole lot of. But if you do, you try to use the simple collision as complex. If that don't work, use complex collision as simple. Now the reasons why these are different here too is because some of them take more data. Okay, so just kind of remember that. You should be okay. I mean, you're not going to place a whole lot of static meshes that are going to require to be fixed. However, you might run into issue where their collisions are missing. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I meant to cover that in the last video. Okay. Alright, so let's go on to our sound, and I set up a waterfall over here that you guys noticed when we first started out here. I kind of decorated my island a little bit. I'm making it look like there's a spring and the water is coming out. And I don't have the sound cue for the waterfall installed, but I do have the ambient cue because I was just checking to make sure everything would function when I go to copy it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to get to it so you don't have to reset anything. Okay, and set up your own system. So let's go ahead and we'll wait till this logs in here, and I will check my sound real quick. As we wait for it to load. So as it ramps up, I hate this when it does that. Just takes a little bit, pain in the butt. So, But what we're going to do is, to make it easy, we're actually copy the sound cues from the waterfall. That way you don't have to go searching for it through the content browser. It makes it a little bit easier to do this. It's a way to cheat and cut to the things that you want to use. It's a lot faster. I mean, they got so many different sound cues you'd have to kind of go through, and this is just the easier way to do it. But what I wanted to check here is to make sure I could hear the one ambient sound above, where it makes it sound like the water's falling from the top. So you can kind of hear it right now as we kind of load in here. So as soon as it loads the shaders, and there we go. So as you can tell, I can turn the camera, you can hear the sound change from the different sides. Okay, so we're hearing that sound cue from up there. Okay, and I'll show you how to get these particle effects and things like that too. So this is the waterfall particle effects in the mesh. Alright, so let's go ahead and shift to escape so I can hear that sound cue. Alright, so let's go ahead and make sure that everything, Windows levels, everything is saved on our levels here. And what we're going to do is go to our content browser, and let's go up to the Conan Exiles folder, the maps folder. We're going to open up the Conan sandbox. So let's go ahead and open that up. And we're going to load up one of the waterfall tiles, and I'm going to show you how to grab this stuff from the soundbot, the Conan sandbox soundbox, or sound map, sorry, or soundbox. I guess we can call it a soundbox. That might work. So, all right, and then we'll also cover the sound volumes, the music, and the sound data table as well. Now, the thing with custom sound files, it's the same way as importing a tile, tile maps and static meshes and etc. However, the thing is, the sound cues can take up a lot of room too. So be very careful if you decide to use some custom sound cues. You want to keep them small, short, and not too big, because they're going to take up space in your mod. Okay, so remember that. The more you add to your mod, the more you're going to have to try to compact in 2 gigs. And like I said, if you decide to play with the mod splitting tools, then so be it. Then go for it, and you learn how to do that by all means. I don't know if I'm going to get into that. I might teach it if I decide to play with it. I have not played with it, but it is available. Okay, so we have a waterfall system, and I was using the one where we have the giant statues up here, and this is where I took them from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the Windows levels. We're going to open up the sound map, or the sound. I'm just going to type sound. It'll be easier to do the sound level because there's just so many tiles. There we go. Conan Sandbox Sound is what it is called. Okay, yeah. I thought I was calling it right. It's just a lot of naming conventions to remember. Okay, so what you're going to see is when you get in here, and I didn't open up the tile, but I could probably open up the tile. So we got the POIs, point of interest, and then all the sound volumes are floating around us as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let's get that level opened up. And I believe if I go up here to quickly find our way, we can open up world composition. I'm just going to go to the landscapes. That way I can find just the landscapes, and it's on 4.3. So I'm going to load up 4.3 here. That way I can find it. And also get the particles, so I can show you how to grab your particle effects too for some of your waterfalls. Okay, and I'll show you the other particle effects for the other waterfalls too. All right, so our sound files, I believe this one is missing. One of these is missing a sound cue, believe it or not. I think I discovered it the other day. Or a particle effect, sorry. This one's missing a particle effect. I don't think the devs know it, and nobody's reported it. So, all right, so to do this, we have the ambient sounds right here. This sound here is to kind of cover and envelop an area with these 3 waterfalls, and then there's this one over here. So that kind of covers all 3 of these falls. But what you can do is you can go up here, and this is where you can collect the particle effect, the static mesh waterfall. So that's a static mesh, and then you can come down here and grab the particle here. Then we can grab this sound cue here, which is the base of the waterfall. Okay, I'm going to grab that. And I already got the sound ambient already in the other one, so I'm not going to worry about that. Well, I'll just grab it just to be on the safe side. But it's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt because I got to get the right angle because it's going to be kind of mixed with our mesh here and our particle. So this is going to be, let me slow my camera down. This is going to be a little difficult, but we can do it this way. It's a lot easier to try to do it this way than fight through the world outliner grabbing all these particular items. And now I think I got everything selected. Yep, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control G. Okay, Control G, and oh, that's right. Some of them are being opposite levels because of the sound effects. So we're just going to hit Control Copy, and then we can go Control V. Now it should copy and paste it. Control G. Now we have it copy and pasted on this level. Control X to cut it, all right, to copy it to our clipboard. Okay, so now this is how you do water over here, and we'll mess with waterfalls a little bit later. But they are missing. It's interesting. I noticed this is missing here too, this texture. I'm not sure why. I don't know if that's in the vanilla game like that and nobody's noticed it, or it's just in the dev kit right now. I have no idea. That's a little weird. All right, so now let's go ahead and go back to our mod. So we'll go to our mod folder. Okay, Branch and Isles. And I'm going to load up my map. Okay, so don't save any of that. We'll head back over to our map. Okay. All right, and let me see here. Windows levels, and I got a static mesh hanging out. 1 1 and 1 0. I'm gonna hide 1 0 real quick. Oops. I'm gonna hide it real quick because I have a feeling that this mesh level move selection to current level. So we're gonna fix that now. Oops. Windows levels. I'm gonna go ahead and save those. Oh yeah, unhide it. Always forget that. Unhide it and then save. And save the persistent. All right, so that's all be good because I got my rock staging area back here, so that's my staging area. But you know, like I said, we want to correct things like that. If you see them, you want to correct it right away. Otherwise, you might forget and you keep putting it off, and then it bites you in the butt later. Okay, so now I'm gonna hit right click here and edit and hit paste here. No, I'm not because I just screwed myself up because I should not have touched that. So snow, guess what? Sorry guys. Let me go back here real quick. I forgot touching that and level transferring it would cause it to copy the damn rock. My bad. Sorry about that. Oh, the things that you forget to do sometimes. It's like, oh boy. All right, so let's go to Windows, Levels. Let's quickly go get our waterfall. I'm just going to type sound, so sorry about that. I do apologize, guys. Yeah, remember not to do that, okay? So I just gave you a tip. Remember not to do that. I'm just going to go over here to our waterfall thing. I'm not going to open up the level because we already did the particle effect. So I should just be able to grab. Well, no, I should do that just to show you guys. Well, I showed you how to collect it, so you guys should be good. All right, let's find our waterfall. It's back over here. It's like the forked waterfall. Up here, over here. Okay, there we go. Let's head back over here. Let's grab our sound files. I won't worry about the particle effects because you kind of know how to do that already. But this is the best way to do it. And I'm just going to grab that. Even though I already have this one, I'm just going to grab it again. And I'm going to go all the way down here. And I'm not going to worry about getting the cylindrical 3 staged portion. Control C to copy or Control X to cut it. And then we're going to go Windows. We're going to go back to levels. We're going to go, not Windows level, sorry. We're going to go to our content browser, back to our mod, Branch and Isles. Sorry about that. And don't save because we don't want to say that we cut the file. Otherwise, we're going to screw ourselves and add this to our mod. So we don't need to do that right now. So, okay. Now we're here. Windows levels. And I'm also going to make sure I open up Sound Barachin, and I'm going to open up 1, 1, 1, and 1, 0. And I'm going to make sure I open up the sound again and speed up my camera. Okay. Now I already have the one sound file here, but I'm going to make sure I right click, edit, paste here. All right. And as you can tell, we got the one sound file there. I'm going to go ahead and line this one up with my waterfall down here at the base, like so. And that should be spreading out correctly. And then this top one, Shift G, I'm going to make sure we break it apart. Okay, it is broke apart. And you see this one's the environment waterfall medium C. Okay, and then we got the Q down here. So this is the environment. So this is that nice flowing sound from the top. I'm just going to delete it. But I want to show you guys how to do it to bring it over. And then this one is our splashing sound at the base of our waterfall. This one here. And what I want to make sure too, if I can get in here and highlight it. Of course, our particle effects can be a problem. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the Q there. And I'm going to make sure that it's into audio here, and then just going to grab this audio rivers. We're going to do audio. We can't do audio. We're just going to do it in the. It's going to be fun because it's going to take what the devs put it in, and I just want to make sure we don't want audio rivers, which is weird. I don't know why it's sub-leveling that, and it's not allowing me to move this. So I think I have to go audio rivers to desert biome. Audio. Yeah, it's doing some really weird stuff here with these folders. So, what if I can't move that? I can move it there. We'll just go with this for now. So it might, if you can get it to work, that's cool. I don't know why it's giving me a hard time there. That is bizarre. All right, but what I want to do too is make sure that these guys are moved to our sound level. Okay, and we just go up here and make sure we're set. Okay, it is, and I just want to make sure I transfer it over, so I can just right click here and go level, edit, level, make sure it is over there, and it says move selection to current level. So now it should be in our sound level. Yep, 9 cues. We were at 7 items, so now we got 9 there. So if I hide that, both of them should be hidden, and there. Okay. All right, awesome. So now that is done. Let's go ahead and we're going to hit play from down here. So we should hear the sound effect of the waterfall splashing down here at the base. There you go. You can hear it really good. It should get loud. There we go. We got it working. And I got a chest back here behind my waterfall. We've got our splash effects going. There we have it. Okay, so that's the sound cues. So that's how you do the sound cues. That you're outside the dungeon. If you need to do torches, same thing. Most of the torches already have the sound effects on them. However, some of the bigger braziers and stuff don't. So you'll have to find an area in the game where you like the brazier sound, and you get that sound file for the brazier. Okay, so now we kind of covered audio volumes last time, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and let's refresh. So up here is our sound volume that's covering our entire world. Remember, we wrapped our world with the sound level, and we were having issues with the sound level map. So we got the audio jungle main. That's because that's what I'm going to use for my sound effect. Okay, around the world, because it's going to be the ocean and islands. So I really only need that volume for this map. However, what I am going to do though is we don't have a cave, and I'll probably build a cave later, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to bring a volume in. I know I did that before, but we're going to refresh ourselves in our memory on doing that as well. So let me go to Windows, Levels, and I'm going to make sure everything's saved here, and save these two. Okay, we're at 20 minutes. All right, so we're going to go back to our content browser. We're going to go back to our Conan sandbox. We're going to open up our sandbox again. And we're not going to hit save here. Well, I'll just save it or not save it. Don't matter because I already saved it. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to get a square audio volume. It's a lot easier. And usually I take the one from the there's the War Maker over there. I don't know what level this is. That might be Kurok's Dungeon. They might have made that available. I don't know. I have to dig into that and find out and study that. I just noticed that before. It's kind of, I don't know, it's a little weird. All right, so we're going to go here. We're going to Windows. We're going to go Levels. We're going to open up our sound file again. Just type sound up here in the search. Be a lot faster. Open up our sound. All right, and we're looking for our yellow sound volume. Now, there's going to be a couple sound volumes in this. This is the Black Fortress, or yeah, the Black Fortress, or the gosh, what is it called? I think in the game it's called the Black Fortress. Here it's called the Abandoned Keep. Okay, so we're at the Abandoned Keep, and there's a couple sound volumes. This is the one where you fall into the pit of water or something. And what we're doing is we're looking for the sound volume that's wrapping the main dungeon, which is this one here. I think, no, that's the post process. It's wrapped in here. There we go. Audio level and audio volume 3 is the center one. So we're going to get the Abandoned Keep one. All right, and what we're going to do is just we're going to right click in here. We can right click up on top here, go edit, go copy. All right, we're going to go back to our content folder. We're going to go back to our mod. We're going to open up our levels. Don't save this. All right. And we're going to go to levels again. And I'm just going to do it as an example. Okay, and what we'll do is probably end up eventually putting a cave in, but I don't want to sit here and take up too much time because I want to teach you guys the priority lessons. And then what we'll do is I'll take a little bit of tutorial time, and I'll have kind of a cave already preset, and then we'll do a post process around it. We'll do a sound volume around it. That way you guys are getting used to it because we're kind of building together our map. And I'm hoping that while you guys are doing the tutorials, you're also kind of flushing out your map, putting in your trees and stuff. And so then on the next episode that you watch, you can kind of keep up with me and you're putting in a post process and etc. Things like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put this sound volume. I'm going to right click and make sure I got the right level. We're going to go to our sound. I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste it over here, edit, paste here. Okay, now it's quite large, but I'm going to shrink it down just to wrap it around our ship here as an example for now. And I would recommend not do this later, but for now just use this as a lesson because obviously we don't want this sound volume playing around our boat, but we're going to do it here because it's a nice location, and I can instruct you with the tutorial here. And like I said, we'll build a cave or something like that. Now on the audio volume, in the details panel, we got audio volume Abandoned Keep. I'm going to go ahead and just change this right now, and I'm going to call it audio volume ship at the moment, so I know where it's at. Obviously our audio is Abandoned Keep, it says here. I'm going to rename this folder now, and I'm going to call it ship, audio volume ship, or audio ship for now. Okay, and then on our details panel, scrolling all the way to the bottom, you're going to see these two tags down here. If you remember, we kind of played with these tags before, and what they do is they relate to our data table here, which I believe is called the sound stage. So you just type sound, and it's going to be a data table. And I'm just going to click data table, And if we look, you got the combat music table we're not going to play with. We want to find the soundstage audio table. Okay, now this lists all the different music and ambient sounds that can be played in a audio volume. Okay, so now we have a AB keep. So if we type keep, K-E-E-P, you can see music for the keep and you can see the ambience. So the AB or environment is your ambience, and then you got your music, which is your music that plays inside the volume. All right, so let's just go ahead and minimize this real quick, and let's go ahead and hit play over here on the outside of the volume because I want to let you hear the transition of going from the sound of the sea, birds, and wind. We should be able to enter this volume and hear the music play. So you can hear our wind, but also I'm just going to turn up my volume because I believe I shut my volume off. That way it wouldn't interfere. So I'm just going to turn our music up a little bit here to about 20. And it should eventually start playing. But what we're going to do is we're going to transition, and we should hear music to the keep. So it should transition to the music of the keep here and the environment of the keep. So we should start hearing like the splashing sounds of being inside a dungeon here in a second. Of course, it's going to compile shaders. So as we wait, compiling shaders, gotta love it. I don't know why it's compiling shaders right now, but that's the dev kit for you. Right. Now, obviously, we can't hear the seabirds and the wind, but what we should be hearing is our dungeon and our dungeon music. Now, if this don't work, it's because we're going to have to assign a priority, I believe. So let's give it a minute here. I'm going to hit escape real quick, and I'm going to just, oops. I'm going to double check my settings here, because I want to make sure my audio is... Okay, there we go. There you go. So we hear the abandoned keep music, but we should also be hearing the other sound effects of like the water trickle inside the keep right now. And I can barely hear it. So I'm just going to double check here. Oops. I'm just going to go outside the volume one more time, and I'm just going to make sure that it engages properly. Sometimes the dev kit will give you issues where it'll engage part of it or won't engage part of it, so let's just make sure. Okay, we hear our birds and our wind. Okay, now we're going to go into our abandoned keep volume. It's in transition in. Okay, now I hear the trickling of the water. So sometimes the dev kit will do this, but you should now hear the sounds of the water dripping and splashing on like stone. Okay, and it's what's really nice is it's really simple. We're all kind of set up. Okay, so on our audio volume, so if we highlight it again, we can either highlight it out here, like I'm doing there now. And if you go down to the bottom here, like I said, you got your environment keep and music keep, okay? But also at the very top of the volume, it's got a priority of 20, okay? Now, these priorities, we shouldn't have to change the priorities too much. As long as you keep them the same, they should fade in and fade out correctly, accordingly, because we have the main sound, our big one, way up here wrapping our world. Okay, and that one should take a higher priority or a lower priority. I can't remember. The priorities are interesting and how they work. But the priorities are pretty much set up, so we should just be able to overlap with no problem. Okay, now what I'm going to do is show you we can take another volume. What we can do is we can duplicate this volume, Control Copy, Control V, and we're going to bring this over. And I'm just going to call this, yeah, we'll leave it as ship 2. And what I'm going to do is just kind of place it next to this one, but I'm not going to go anywhere else with it. But what we're going to do is on the tags, we're going to change the tags. So if we go back to our table soundstage and our data table, we clear this entry, and let's find, let's get the music for Savannah. Okay, so you just, all you got to do is grab the name, like so. All right, and we should just be able to paste that in the tag, like so. And then for our environment, we can get Savannah High or Savannah 1. I'm just going to grab Savannah 1 here. And I'm going to place that in the keep entry. Okay. And then we'll hit save. And what it should do now is our volume ship 2 should play that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start right here. And we're going to kind of walk into the water, and we should be able to engage that sound volume. So let's go ahead and we'll do this. Like so. All right, and we should just be able, we hear our birds. Now let's walk into our volume carefully. It should be engaging. And like I said, our dev kit might do some weird things. The volumes sometimes kick on and off in the dev kit. Yep. So let's do this again. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust that volume, and I'm just going to bring it forward a little bit. Just a little bit on the land. And then hit play from here. And like I said, you might have to do this a couple times just to make sure your volume kicks in properly so you can hear the transitioning and everything and know that it's functioning. Like I said, it's just annoying sometimes that the dev kit does weird things like this. Okay, so we should be inside it now. Just give it a minute and we'll see if it starts playing our music. And hopefully I got it tagged right on the volume. I'll go out of it again. I'll go back into it again. Okay, it fades out. Did what it's supposed to do. And if we have to, hit escape, go to settings, hit audio. We can play with the music slider perhaps. It should have selected our tags. Okay, let's double check, because I know there's a couple Savannah entries. So let's just go ahead and double check our tags, make sure our tags are correct. Let me find the volume. Our ship volume again. Just type ship up here real quick. It should bring it up. Ship volume 2. And I'm just going to type keep. I want to make sure I got that correct. So keep was spelt that way. All right, so we should be able to get the Savannah environment. And you know what? They might have actually. You know what? I think I might have selected the wrong one. These larger ones here might be not working. They might be locked under SIPTA DLC possibly. So let me just grab the environment Savannah and paste that here. Obviously this other one's just not working, so this must be the correct tag. So just double check your tags too. Sometimes it might not work because of the tag. You know what? The funny thing is we got the pirate ship, environment pirate ship desert. That's interesting. Let's try that pirate ship's environment. Let's do that and see what that sounds like instead of the savannah. Why not? Let's just do that real quick. I don't want to get this tutorial any much longer. We're at what, 35, okay, 35 minutes. All right, I'm going to try to finish this up quick. And let's find our music. There should be a music pirate ship or something like that, right? So let's find the music. See if they got music pirate ship. Pirate ship or pirate land. Let's do pirate land. Yeah, we'll do music pirate land. Okay, we'll paste that in here. So yeah, just double check your tags. If it doesn't work, swap out a tag. Or like I said, you can do your own music files as well. And I'll try to show that later, but I don't want to get into too much more technical, and I don't want to keep this video any longer. So let's finish this up real quick, and I can show you this. And then we'll wrap this tutorial up. And I do apologize, I might be a little bit late on the next tutorial. I got a phone call last night, and my grandmother was killed in a car accident. Not the way we expected her to go, but just to give you guys a heads up, I might be a little late on the next tutorial or two. I don't know yet. We'll see. I'm still waiting for family to contact me and let me know when the funeral and things are like that, take place. So just to give you guys a heads up if I'm a little late on some tutorials, okay? I don't mean to ignore you or anything or be delayed, but that might delay me. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. All right, so let's see if our music will engage here in our environment for our pirate sound. Now I believe this pirate land is going to have like the desert wind blowing through it, obviously, but we should hear the music engage. So we'll give it a second and see if that music engages. Because I know we're going to have the desert, because you don't hear the birds. So I know the desert environment for the pirate land is supposed to have the wind blowing, the desert wind. But our music has engaged, so let's walk back out of it. There's our birds, like it's supposed to, and hopefully this will get us our pirate land music. There we go. I like this pirate land music. I think this is the one that's my favorite, one of my favorites. And Tortage. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. And I might put this audio volume over by our player start, you never know. But so yeah, so there you go. So that's the audio volumes again, kind of hashing those out a little bit, so you can do sound cues, do audio volumes. That way you can kind of set up, music, environmental sounds from wind to the snow to the winter, things like that. Here we go. So it's going to kick in. There we go. It's a really good soundtrack, actually. I do like their soundtrack for Conan Exiles. All right. Okay, guys and gals. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and hit map real quick, and I'm going to transition back over. And there you have it. All right. So, okay. Hopefully you guys learned something here. Hopefully I covered it. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm going to turn down this music real quick so it's not too loud. But like I said, hopefully the sound cues, I kind of covered that and gave you enough information to be dangerous. If not, just let me know. I can rehash or cover something in a particular area. Just leave me a comment on the Patreon video comments there, or in the community chat. So there should be a community chat. So if you guys want to talk to me or have any questions, you all can talk, and we can all answer the questions together. So if somebody asks a question that you might not know, guess what? That answer will be there. I can type back to them, etc., things like that. So the community chat should be set up for the tutorial right there, so we can talk back and forth. So, all right, guys and gals, without further ado, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your guys' support and hanging out with the tutorial series. Like I said, leave any comments if there's something I need to do better, something didn't make sense, I didn't lay it out, nice and detailed so you understand, or kept it layman's terms. Just let me know. I really want you guys to learn and be able to mod your own maps and enjoy it, and it'll teach you a lot. So that way you can help others in the community if they need help or something like that. You'll be able to do that too. So, and like I said, I might be a little late on tutorial releases due to a death in the family, obviously my grandmother. So I do apologize if I am, but hopefully I'll try to get a couple knocked out before if I have to leave and fly back to Alaska to go to the funeral and stuff like that. So I'll try to get some tutorials knocked out and just set them up in a drop sequence. That way you guys have some material to follow while I'm gone. Okay, but until I know something, it's going to be at least another 4 days before I know anything. But I just want to keep you guys in the loop. So, and my chemo is going to kick my butt. I needed to get this video done. I had chemo yesterday, and I meant to get this one done last night, but the phone call came through, so it kind of messed my entire day up. So I'm going to try and get my tutorial knocked out now before I really go into a loopy mode. So, all right, guys, gals, thanks again. I appreciate it. I'm going to let you guys get out of here, and I'm going to get out of your face so you guys can get cracking and working on your map. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.